This is Marta. Welcome to Heal Cloud podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome back to this minicast. In today's episode, I want to approach the topic of nutrition because that's something that I truly believe that changing what we eat but also how we eat is the first step towards healing. So let's talk about what can we learn about food and diet from Ayurveda. And based on that, at the end of this episode, we are going to take the example of cheese and see whether it might be a top or much rather flop food for your individual constitution. As you noticed in the title, I used the term Ayurvedic nutrition, not the Ayurvedic diet, because personally I have some negative connotation with the word diet, as I feel like we go on the diet much rather over a short period of time or in order to achieve something, either lose weight or improve our digestion, whereas what we really want to do, of course we can go on a diet over a short period of time, but also find a sustainable way of eating. And whenever we come to Ayurveda, we are talking much more about nourishing ourselves on all different levels. And it can, but doesn't have to always start with what we eat. However, certainly often it is the easiest and most tangible thing that we usually start with bigger changes in our life and moving towards the healthier lifestyle, because that's a journey that yoga and Ayurveda are definitely taking us on anyway. And also when it comes to the word diet, I feel like we may think of some restrictions that come with it and with changing what we eat. Instead of that, I always want to emphasize that Ayurveda is not as much about restrictions as it is about intuitive and mindful eating above everything else. For this reason, I cannot even compare the Ayurvedic nutrition style to any other different type of diet out there, because it's neither vegetarian or vegan. It's just highly individualized to the person's needs, to his or her lifestyle and environment or background. And I think the closest of the Western equivalents from the diet vocabulary that I found was flexitarianism, which is based on involving mostly plant-based foods, but also with occasional consumption of meat if there is a need for that. But I think what's really an important lesson for many of us nowadays is to stress less about how we label our diet and in general stress less about what we eat. And Ayurveda shows us how we can achieve it. So starting with exploring the foundations, whenever we are talking about Ayurvedic food guidelines, we need to come back to the teachings of doshas and Agni that we've already discussed in a couple of earlier episodes. So this is something you're probably already aware of, that there are 3 Ayurvedic doshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and that they may come in different combinations in each of us. And usually depending on the dominant dosha at the moment, meaning the Vikruti, we can also assess the strength of Agni, the strength of digestive fire. So this is what an Ayurvedic practitioner would do if you go for a consultation. You would most probably get a list of yay and nay foods and products that are most suitable for your dosha and your agni at the moment. However, what I see is that Ayurvedic nutrition is more than that, because it really shows us how to play with different tastes and spices in the kitchen, and in general to be more relaxed and playful in the way we approach diet and food. So I thought, instead of stuffing your head with even more theory about the rules and the lists about what you should or should not eat, you can start with the Ayurvedic rule of thumb whenever it comes to food, that you just want to eat foods with regional, seasonal, and fresh ingredients. And these are really three most important key words that concern Ayurvedic nutrition. And you can trust me on that. Everything else that you need to know about food combination, 5 different tastes and food qualities that Ayurveda is also teaching about, you can learn by observing yourself, by observing your food, and having as much pleasure and joy from cooking as you can get, simply because food prepared with love is the best food you can possibly get. And coming back to our question in the title, in order to know whether cheese is good for you or not, Ayurveda would say it depends. So number one, it depends on the person, because even though cheese is generally considered a healthy food, we still need to remember that everybody is unique. Therefore, it might not be an ideal food for everybody. Taking the example of cheese, it is difficult to digest, and it requires a lot of agni to be properly processed by your body. It is because it contains a lot of fats and also lactose, and these are all healthy fats. But if your digestive fire is weak, then you probably won't be able to absorb all the nutrients from it correctly. The next point of our depends list is depends on the quality of cheese, because unfortunately nowadays it is quite hard to find good quality dairy products, as many cows are living in miserable conditions, and consequently the quality of milk they're producing will also be miserable. So if you're choosing to buy cheese, go for the one that is manufactured from raw unpasteurized milk, and also that is preferably coming from grass-fed cows. Now it will be different for every country or region, but if you are in Europe, you can let me know, as I've been living next to the cow's farm for the past 2 months, and I probably can give you some hint on that, how to get a good quality cheese. Number 3 is depends on the season. So if you think of the qualities of cheese, according to Ayurveda, it's cold, heavy, and damp. And now if you think of qualities of snow in winter, for example, its qualities will be very similar. That's why Ayurveda teaches us that like increases like, and therefore eating too much cheese in winter might even contribute that you'll get cold sooner or be even more likely to gain weight from indulging in too much of cheesy snack. And this is because the qualities of kapha will be increased. And on the other hand, eating the same quality and quantity of cheese in summer will be most probably much better for you And you'll be also able to digest it more easily, as the acne tends to get stronger when the weather gets warmer. And the last point depends on the combination and the way you eat and prepare your cheese. And here we are coming back to the first point again, where we said that the cheese will be only good for you if you are able to digest it properly. So think of how do you prepare your cheese and what do you combine it with. So let's say baked cheese. It's heavier and it will be always more difficult to digest. And also pairing it with fruit or meat is a difficult combination for our digestion to handle, because combining protein with other type of protein is simply not a good idea. And if you have a strong acne, it probably won't bother you as much. But remember that even the strongest acne can get weakened by improper food combining. And if you feel already that your digestion is not the strongest, but you still want to eat cheese, then I'd say combine it with some spices that will aid digestion, like cumin or asafoetida. So to sum it up for you, cheese will be only good for you if you are able to digest it properly. And whether if you are or not, it will depend mostly on the strength of your acne and most probably on the season and food combining as well. So this is all for today that I wanted to share with you about Ayurvedic nutrition in general, and I hope this cheesy example helps you to wrap your head around it. Please follow me at Heal O'Clock on Instagram if you like this episode, and I'll be coming back with new ones every Monday, so hope to see you next time.